Before I explain to you how brainwaves can improve your life, you have to understand a couple things. So, you have to understand that everything is energy, and energy is everything. And if you want to find out the secrets of the universe, you have to think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Those three things are not separate, they all work together. And what is sound? Sound is energy that vibrates at a certain frequency. Everything is energy that vibrates at a certain frequency. Your being is a symphony that is synchronized harmoniously. But when your being is in disharmony, it creates disease, be it physical, mental, or spiritual diseases. And because your energy being, you can use the energy of sound to heal yourself. And sound, not only sound, everything affects you and you can affect everything. This subject is very deep. I could talk about it for like 3 hours if I really wanted to, but I wanted to focus this message on brainwaves first, okay? Because everything starts here. So, what are brainwaves? Your behavior, emotions, and your thoughts are communicating between your neurons, okay? And if you don't know what your neurons are, in simple terms, it's just how your brain receives messages or send messages. All right, think of your brain like a computer. It's literally, your brain is literally a computer. It's an organic computer, so that's why it uses a lot of electricity, okay? And all brainwaves are produced by synchronized electrical pulses from masses of neurons communicating with each other. So basically what that means is every time your So what that means is every time your neurons receive electrical pulses, it creates brain waves. The reason why we call it brain waves is because the electricity in your brain vibrates at a certain frequency, okay? And that frequency can be transmuted into sound, and that sound can be transmuted into electricity in your brain. And that's why I'm gonna talk about brainwaves. And your brainwaves, well, the way I use brainwaves is I go on YouTube, I type, for example, alpha brainwaves, and it sends the frequency of brainwaves, and it helps my brain produce alpha brainwaves. You don't need to listen to alpha brainwaves to be in an alpha state, okay? So the alpha state is basically your subconscious mind, and it vibrates between 8 and 13.9 hertz. It's when you're relaxed, focused, and you're in good health. Also, it's linked with mental coordination, long-term memory. So every time you're relaxed, you're just cool, calm and collected, you're in the alpha state. And basically the way we're supposed to live mainly in our subconscious, but because of the world we live in, we are mostly in our conscious mind. So the conscious mind is linked with the beta state, okay? And the beta state is vibrates between 14 and 30 hertz. It's linear, external, direct thinking. And but yeah, and it's linked with stress, fear, and anxiety. Unsynchronized wave, and it's useful for routine jobs and short-term memory. So you see why a lot of people are a lot in their beta wave state. Is because when you do the same shit every day, you tap into the beta state. And when you're stressed and in fear, is because your brain waves are unsynchronized. It doesn't mean that the beta state is not the state you want to be in, because all the brain waves are useful for certain things. But with the beta state is, if your brain waves become unsynchronized, like I said, it would cause disharmony within your body, and you'll feel anxiety, stress, and fear. So if you work out, for example, you don't need your alpha state, you'll need your beta state. So if you want a good workout, you can use beta brainwave for your advantage. Delta waves, it vibrates between 1 and 3.9 hertz. It's basically when you are in a deep sleep state. So it's also linked with your unconscious mind. Growth, it's when your growth hormone are released. Loss of body awareness, deep physical relaxation, and access to collective unconscious. That's also the brainwave state that you want to be in when you're lucid dreaming. All right. And yeah, basically when you're in delta, you're unconscious. It doesn't mean that you will fall asleep, but if you meditate and you tap into delta, you'll basically lose complete awareness of your body. And the next one will be theta waves, and it's between 4 and 7.9 hertz. It's linked with deep meditation, intuition, learning, high creativity, flashes of insight, and spontaneous healing. So when you have a good idea, it's because you feel that is your theta waves. Okay? So when you feel super creative, when you feel like in a flow state, is because you tap into that theta state. Next one is gamma waves. Gamma waves vibrate at 30 hertz plus. So it's linked with genius brain waves, high levels of consciousness, mystical experiences, out of body, and hyper focus. So that's another level of meditation. So the first level of meditation, I will say, is alpha, then it's delta, gamma, then it's kind of tricky, because it's not because you're in gamma state that your brain doesn't also create alpha brain waves. All right, your brain can produce multiple brain waves at the same time. So if you're in gamma, you'll probably produce alpha, a little beta, and delta brain waves. And in my experience, I also think that gamma brain waves is linked to psychedelics. If you take psychedelics, you're in a gamma state. Of course, it depends on what kind of psychedelics you take, but you can use psychedelics to achieve those brain state. All right, but I do not recommend you to do it without doing your research, because it could be really dangerous for your health. So please do your research before wanting to do that. So a lot of people, when they talk about brainwaves, they only talk about alpha, beta, theta, delta, and gamma. But there's two other ones that are not really talked about because there's not a lot of research on it, but they really exist, all right? So the next one would be epsilon waves. Epsilon waves vibrates below 0.5 hertz. It's a really advanced state of meditation because it vibrates below 0.5 hertz. It's really hard for your brain to, it's like, it's a really precise frequency, all right? That's why it's very hard to achieve. But if you tap into it, you will be in a super advanced deep meditations. You'll feel ecstatic, high level inspiration, creation, spiritual insight, out of body experiences, and sometimes you'll not. That's the state. That's also the state that certain yogis and monks achieve when they're in meditation. When they're in epsilon, they're in an epsilon state. They achieve a state called suspended animations. So what that is there's no obvious signs of you being alive because there's you are barely breathing and your heartbeat is very weak. So you're I won't say you're dead, but you're basically dead, but you're not dead. It's like your whole spirit goes out of your body. And the next one is lambda waves. And lambda waves vibrates between 100 and 200 hertz. So that is I think is the fastest frequency that your brain can vibrate in. So this is a state of beyond meditation, complete state of oneness and wholeness. And yeah, it's also associated with monks in the Himalayan mountain that can meditate for hours without succumbing to the cold temperature. So when you achieve that state, you will receive insight that is undescribable. And and when you achieve that state, also your left brain and your right brain are synchronized together. So epsilon and lambda are not separate, they work together, right? So that's the thing that's really tricky with the brain waves. Just because you vibrate at, let's say, gamma, it doesn't mean that you don't have other brain waves. So because I'm not a specialist, I can't really explain to you in super detailed way. But if you're really interested, I suggest you to do your own research in that. Alright? So now that I explained to you all the brain waves, you can use that to your advantage. So if you want a good sleep, if you want to have a good night of sleep, you can use delta waves or theta waves. Alright? So what I like to do before when I go to bed is I use my phone. I go on YouTube, I play delta waves, 9 hours. There's hundreds and thousands of videos of different frequencies that you can use. So choose one that feels good. Don't listen to the frequency with your ears. Really feel it. And the one you feel the most is the one you want to use, alright? So use that, and you just take your phone, put it next to you, and go to sleep. And you don't have to put it in maximum volume, just at 1% is enough, okay? And also with alpha waves, the alpha state is the state you want to be in the most when you're just alive, walking around, doing things, all right? Because you're supposed to live life with most of your life on with your subconscious mind. Animals don't are not conscious of are not really conscious, right? They don't really think hard when they do things. They just float through life, all right? So that's what you want to do. You want to float through life. I know it's impossible to be 100% always that way, but if you want to be really happy, really like fulfilling your life, the alpha state is your best friend. Out, that doesn't mean the beta state is bad, because the beta state is good. It has his purpose, but your subconscious mind is more powerful than your conscious mind, because your conscious mind is super easy to program and shit, but your subconscious mind is where your true self reside in, right? That's your subconscious is basically your shadow self. So if you really want to change your life, you want to change your subconscious mind. I might do a video on your subconscious mind, because that subject gets really deep, but I need to do more research on that, okay? So if you appreciate this video, like, share, subscribe, and I want to thank every new subscriber that is on my channel. It really means a lot to me, and I really appreciate that you like the messages I share with you. All right, peace.